Hi. Okay, so we're going to talk a little bit about dialogue replacement for teachers and for children. So we are observing a particular very strong autonomous friend right now, and we are replacing a lot of her behaviors with instead of use your words, we want to just totally eliminate that. And it's going to take a little bit of practice, but let's kind of talk about why. Small children do not have the words, and sometimes that becomes white noise in the background because use your words means I am not going to get what I want, and what I'm saying is not being heard. So instead of shutting that down and say use your words, typically they don't have the words or don't know what to say because they're in a situation where they're already not communicating well, right? And they're still learning how to communicate. So instead of saying, use your words, give them the words to use. So if a child is saying, I want that, oh, you need to use your words and ask. Instead of saying, use your words and ask, you're saying, you can say, I want a turn, please. So I always go into any kind of altercation, anything that I need to intervene with any kind of like situation, there's two things that I say, and that is, what do you want to tell your friend? What do you want to tell your friend? Most of the time they can articulate something to the point where it tells you like what their want is, what their need is. That's the first one. What do you want to tell your friend? And the second one is, you can say, oh, did you want to turn with a shovel? Like if they're grabbing the shovel and you obviously know what they want, you want to turn with a shovel, you can say, I want to turn with a shovel. Because basically what you're doing is you're stopping the thought process of hurting and taking over and control, using the physicality of hurting a friend to get what they want. You're stopping that process, and you're saying, oh, I'm listening to you. So that you're behind the child, you're beside the child, and you're telling the child what to say, and they're feeling supported. So they're going to say that, and then you're going to say whatever the child, maybe the peer says, no, you can't have it yet, I'm not done. You can say, oh, you can be next. So they're hearing the hope in the message, you're giving them the support, and you're starting off with those words. Instead of saying, use your words, you're saying, giving them the words they can use. You can say, what do you want to tell your friend? I hear you. So sometimes when they are like repeating something that's just not reality, like, I want that chair, I want that chair, I want that chair. A friend is sitting in that chair right now. You can't have that chair. I hear you, you want that chair. I see your friend's body there. You can sit beside your friend. Do you want to sit in this chair? Do you want to sit in that chair? When you give it back to them and give them a choice, it takes that power struggle away, and they, excuse me, they can make a choice on their own. You are allowing them to be in control, but they're obviously not getting that chair, and you're not focusing on why they can't. You're not focusing on the no, you're not focusing on the reason, you're not lecturing. You're giving them the hope and what they can do. Oh, your friend is sitting in that chair right now. You can sit on this chair, on beside them. Do you want to sit on this side of them, or do you want to sit on this side of them? Maybe you want to sit by me. So change that message and that thought process to directing what you want them to be doing and where you want their focus to be, and that's how you're going to be addressing their dialogue and giving them what to say next. Also, this is super, super key and important for young children. Actually, until the age of like 5, I wouldn't even use this question. And it is in our human repertoire, so we have to really, sometimes I even catch myself saying it, like mostly when I'm frustrated and I'm tired, and I immediately have to follow it up with, I know why you're doing this, and giving them that. So when you say, why did you do that? Why did you take that away from Johnny? Why are you crying? Young children do not have the cognition to process and articulate a why answer. So what you're doing, and this is very indicative of like a neurodivergent child, this is what you're doing. You are placing a hold on their processing. For a neurotypical child, any child, you are basically shutting them down, going, what? Like they cannot process why, because most of the time they don't know why. They're reacting to something, a need or a want, and they're reacting to get what they want, and they don't really know what they're doing. They're just going through the motions. So to ask them why is not, it's not age appropriate, it's not developmentally appropriate, and we're really just prolonging the situation, and it could get into a power struggle, and most of the time it does. So I know that like the teacher side of us wants to have children contemplate and think about why they're doing that, but they're just not there yet. So instead of focusing on the why, just don't even ask it. Wipe it from your memory. If you find yourself saying it, take a step back and go, oh man, am I really frustrated? Maybe there's a reason why I'm asking that. Maybe I need to take a step back. Maybe I need a break. That's typically when we start to do that, because we're looking for an explanation of why they're acting out, and there is no explanation. There really doesn't need to be an explanation. They are acting age typical for their development, and we need to help them work through that. So instead of asking why, you can state what they, oh, I see that you're really unhappy. Look at your face. You look really frustrated. Or you're saying, I hear what you're saying. Are you really sad right now because you can't go outside and play? Whatever it is. It's usually like a better example would be like a altercation between another peer. But use that dialogue to express what they're feeling. So you're narrating again, you're expressing for them. Yeah, I didn't like that you took my toy. Yeah, that would make me sad too. Narrate what their expression, what they need to articulate, and move through that instead of asking the question, because they just can't. They're not there. And some children might give you an example or an answer because they're used to that, and it's kind of like that lying stage where why did my child lie to me? Well, that's actually a part of their development, because when children lie, it is when their development and their brain starts to understand that people have other thoughts, and they start to realize some of the things that they're doing, they're getting in trouble for, but they don't understand. So there's this whole misconception about lying and why we ask children questions, and it's just not age appropriate. So we can dive into that a little bit more, but I wanted to just really address that and give you dialogue replacement so that you have better conversations. And the more conversations and narrating that you're going to have with your children is going to build the trust with your child, between you and your child, because they are hearing that you are supporting them and you are not driving just to get an explanation, because typically we ask that when they're in trouble. I've never heard a teacher say like, oh, why did you do it that way? That's so interesting. It's usually a negative feedback. So just dissolve it from your dialogue, find those replacement words. If you need a little bit of help, we can work through that together. We can, typically if we know the child that you're dealing with specifically, we can use a little bit of a cheat sheet, and you can replace those and get used to articulating those specific replacement dialogues. Just like this child, we're saying specifically, what do you want to tell your friend? I hear you. You can say, I want that. Can I have that? And with this actual particular child, we're replacing I want with can I, so that she is learning that she can't just have it. Just now that she said it doesn't mean that she gets it. She has to wait for that child or that adult to respond with a yes, it's your turn, or no, it's not. So we're replacing specifically I want with can I, and I see that it's working, and she's getting it. It changes the statement also, so that she's processing, oh, that doesn't just mean that I'm just going to get what I want. Okay, so one last thought on that is that we know that with this particular child, commands and demands are a trigger. So instead of us saying, go get your lunchbox and take it to the table, it is, do you want to have snack with us? Oh, would you like to get your lunchbox? We are making it her choice. We are not telling her what to do, because that is immediately an autonomous fight. So we want to take that message away, and we want to give her as much control. We're just redirecting that message. Of course, we want her to have snack at the table, but we don't want it to be a power struggle. And like I said, you're building this repertoire in yourself and this professional growth, so that when this child moves on, you are going to be equipped to be able to help another child with similar autonomous stages through their development. Okay, so I hope that is helpful. Let me know if you need some more scenario examples, and we can get practicing. Have a great day, and thanks for your time.